It's time to whip off that bra, pour a glass of your favorite wine, and join us for this week's Drinks at Six podcast. Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of the Drinks at Six podcast. This is our special pre-Valentine's Day episode, and so we've got some love goodies to talk about today, including our weekly gadget. We're going to talk about love, because that seems appropriate, right, for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And so do you need to be in love to be in your marriage? Then we're going to talk about the 5 ways that people show love. And this is an interesting topic because once you figure out those ways, you'll look at your relationship completely differently. And finally, today we're going to talk about our own relationships. Why don't we tell our friends and family the truth about our romantic relationships? So Monica, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm very happy to be back in the girl cave.
I
love the pink around us. It's very girl power Valentine's.
It really is. We're all set up for Valentine's Day today.
Uh-huh.
I was just wondering, we did a really funny Instagram with you and your new universe ball thing. It's glowing. You look like a fortune teller.
It's sort of like fortune teller, Xanadu, universe ball.
Xanadu.
I wish it showed the beautiful. There's like lime green, hot pink, powder blue, all the colors for spring.
It is very springy.
It is,
and very
magical.
Yes, it's
magical is the word.
And
you're
university
looking for. And university.
So, is this ball helping you channel in your weekly message from the uterus?
It is. I made a promise to everyone, so today I have a Valentine gift for our listeners. You asked me in one of our podcasts where I get my messages from the universe, and I said that I do, and I have a way that others can also access those messages. Okay. So ladies, if you're into it, check out this website. It's called tut.com, and it was created by a guy named Mike Dooley, and every single day you will get a special message just for you from the universe. And they actually ask you a bunch of questions about yourself and what your goals are and what your dreams are before you sign up. So then the universe knows all about you and sends you messages that, are just for you. So I got a very nice message this morning, and I love this message because I think the other thing, we're talking about Valentine's, and yeah, it's a day of love and blah, blah, blah. But really, the first person you want to love is yourself. And sometimes when we're trying to think positively and make changes in our life, we also have the, bad voice inside our head that sabotages us and takes away from the notion of loving yourself, right? So these little messages are kind of a reminder of this is how I should think today.
Right.
To love myself and bring good things to myself. So this morning I got a message from the universe, and it says, I'm going to read it with your name in it, Jacqueline.
Okay. And this is like the universe contacted your phone and channeled the message through the phone so you wouldn't be all freaked out by fairies and stuff. Okay.
No fairies came, just a message, just a nice good old email from the universe.
The universe is into text messaging. That's awesome.
If you can see it in your mind, Jacqueline, it's real. All that remains is merging the present and the world you've imagined, which is my part. And you can best help me align circumstances, coincidences, and chance encounters by getting busy, going out into the world, and moving in the general direction of your dreams, even if only to do what your peers might do. Who know life's... Why can't I read today?
The universe
Who know not of life's magic. But you know the truth, Jacqueline. You know how life works. Do not waver in your march. No matter how humble your steps, this is how I will reach you. And as you witness one dream come true after another, first the small ones, then the big ones, then the huge ones, you'll remember why you were first drawn to the jungles of time and space, if you haven't already figured it out. You crazy kid. The universe.
Oh, my God.
Then there's another little, and when you know,
Jesus.
Jacqueline, would you please clue us in so that we can finish the documentary? Isn't
Okay,
that good?
the
I
universe
love
is
those.
quite chatty. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for
That
the
was a
universe.
longer- that was a longer one. The universe had extra time.
Oh,
But
thank
okay,
you,
I have
Outer-
subscribed to this tut.com for a couple
course
of
you have.
for I'd say almost 5 years now, and
Right.
I've never got the same message twice.
That's a good database marketing system. Or no, that's the universe.
What are you talking about?
Nope, you're right. That's the universe.
Universe, please don't be offended by Jacqueline.
They don't. The universe isn't the guy responsible for sending the lightning and stuff, right? That's not the universe. That's someone else. Okay, we're safe. We're in the girl cave. Okay, Monica.
Yo,
I want to
Lay
talk
on.
about we talked about this a little tiny bit in the last podcast, or we just had a teaser. Do you need to be in love to be in your marriage? And the reason that I want to talk about this is because we're both in a marriage, not together. And you know, I've been with my husband since 2005. You've been in this game way longer than me, and I have friends who are in newer relationships than me, or maybe even the same length of time. And when we get together and we kind of chinwag about marriage and our husbands, always positive, I hear a lot of comments from some friends that, you know, they don't feel like that they're in love anymore, and therefore they start to question the validity of their marriage. Like, you know, if they're not in love with their partner, is that a sign that something's wrong? And they start to feel like they start to question the whole relationship. I think that's interesting because with the divorce rate in Canada at an all-time high, very close to 50% of marriages now are ending in divorce. I mean, we're looking between 43 and 47%. That's a pretty high number. You know, there is a science to love, as we know, and I think that the problem is that people rely so heavily on that initial feeling, you know, that gobsmacking admiration, adoration. You would do anything, you know, you would drive across the province to see them at 10 o'clock at night if they asked you to. Like, you would do anything
Yes.
in the first phases of love. And that's great. And we need that because we need that sort of chemical stimulation to get that relationship going. And that also is what differentiates a relationship from, you know, say somebody just becoming your buddy. So, you know, the first stage is that lusty kind of phase. And then we move into sort of that attraction where, you know, the drugs kick in, the dopamine, the adrenaline, the serotonin. And it does change the way that you think, right? Like you're sort of falling for that person, and it activates actually like a stress response. So you're like, everything is elevated, right? This is like
Right.
this is like a workout or something, right? You know, that post-workout
Endorphin
endorphin rush
rush,
you
yeah.
get, and it just feels great, right? But this is affecting everything. It's like increasing your blood levels of adrenaline and your cortisol. So of course things are different in your body and in your mind. And then things start to settle down a little bit, and then it moves on. And, you know, we go from that sort of blind period, which is also nature's way of kind of moving us into the next phase of the relationship. Because if love wasn't blind, we'd see all the flaws and we probably wouldn't want to stick around, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a necessary evil. And then we move into sort of the attachment phase. And that's the phase where you're bonding together, and you need this phase to sort of decide whether you're going to have your life together, raise children together, have a house together, have a puppy together, whatever. You need that attachment phase. And this is where the oxytocin comes in, the cuddle hormone. You know, this
Yeah.
is, so we've moved from like hot, dirty sex to cuddling.
Way to go.
And in my case, we've moved from cuddling to just sleeping right now. So it does change from, you know, the beginning of the journey to wherever you are, yeah, after a couple of years. And I get that intensity and that excitement is gone. And I know that you can bring it back through things that you can do in your marriage. I don't really want to go into that, but for me, I think throwing away a marriage or questioning its health because you're not in those initial phases is a big mistake, because like being in love is like being in pain and agony and sadness and anger, and in heat. Like,
Yeah.
they're temporary. It's a phase, right?
Exactly.
And you have to move through that phase. It's a natural phase to get you to a committed relationship. And some people need that high all the time, and some people need that sort of energy and excitement. But, you know, it's also called settling down for a reason.
Right.
You
And
know?
it's interesting because I think that's like where the disconnect lies too, is that nobody really talks about that. Nobody talks about that phase of once, you know, the cuddling, like the last phase there is the cuddle phase, right?
Yeah.
Where do we
Good
go
old
from
oxytocin.
oxytocin to now? Like,
Morphine.
yeah.
Wine. We go to wine.
we go to wine. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, you know, there's a lot to be said for bonding. And I think another thing that develops that is amazing and maybe in some cases overlooked is unconditional love happens. So you go from this person that you're in love with, and then maybe there's certain things that peek out and you think, well, that's not really what I would do. And then maybe you argue about it but I think as time goes on, some of us actually come to this point of acceptance where we accept that this person is the way they are, and I've been with them for 20 years and we're still okay.
Yeah.
And I'm the way I am. And you do have that unconditional love, which is the strength of your marriage, because when the shit hits the fan and things go down, you have the bond, you have all those foundations that you've built to get through that. And sometimes that's where people give up. They think, well, I don't need to live with that. That's unacceptable. But if you could somehow push through it, a lot of people go back to phase one when they push through those things.
Yeah, I can see that because it's probably a refreshing new look on your relationship or new approach. But it really is, you know, like, and I think a lot of men go through it too, right? The physical chemistry dies off. And I think that's really hard for people to, I don't know, to handle. It's kind of like we talk about, you know, turning 40 and how you sort of start to feel physically like you're becoming invisible. I think when these things settle down in your marriage, you can feel invisible in your own marriage. I think the key is to find ways around it.
Right. And do you think too that maybe because we live in a society where we are in many cases very superficial, we look at bodies and we look at, oh, that guy's hot, look at his abs, and check out that girl's rack, and all this crap that we hear constantly, it affects us, right? So in our minds we're thinking, well, when I was in my 20s and 30s and my boobs I didn't need a bra, and my husband was so hot for me, and now, like, what do I have?
Yeah.
We like sabotage ourselves, and it's so much deeper than that. Love runs deep. It's about the person, the essence of that person, and that bond and the love that you share. Like, there's, you know, so many exercises that people can do to bring that back, just by simply like looking into each other's eyes and not saying anything, or
doing that, like 27 questions. You remember the New York Times, I think, did it, 27 questions to ask a complete stranger that will make you fall in love. You know, have you ever heard of that?
No,
it's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like, I don't want to try it on a stranger because I'm worried I might fall in love, and that would be an issue. But it's just that it's kind of, you know, we all change as life happens and we get older. I think sometimes we forget that we just assume that our relationship supports that, and that we know that about each other. But that's not true. Like, sometimes you have to, like, just touch base with your partner and, you know, through every phase. Like, where are you at now? What are your beliefs now? Like, what's important to you now?
And imagine if you could stay committed to that. That would actually bring excitement back into your relationship.
Yeah.
Right? You don't take each other for granted, because let's face it, if you and I got divorced tomorrow, another woman...
I didn't know we were married. You and I?
Are we?
Oh.
No.
You mean
I thought we were.
If we divorced our husband.
If we divorced our husbands tomorrow, you know, like, another woman would meet them and another man would meet us, and we'd be fascinating to that guy and they'd be like
for a good 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. And then on to the next. But, you know, there is an opportunity to reconnect and be fascinated with each other again and get to know each other. And a lot of times people go different ways because they don't know each other anymore. Like, oh, that's not the person I married. So there's two things. It's like, that's not the guy I married, or this boring guy again. Like,
well, the thing is, no, that's not the guy you married. Like, people change, and if they
Right.
don't change, they die. Like,
yes,
you know, it's the people that don't change you should fear. I think that, you know, where that can be negative is that's not the guy I married. Maybe he went from being an empathetic, caring human being to a cold asshole. Then sure, I get that that's a problem and that's not the person you married.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, you know, like rational changes that we go through. Like you go through, you know, parenting or business, and you change the way you see things because you've learned something about it. So you have to, like, it just happens, right? Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I find it interesting because sure, it gets boring sometimes, but it's up to you. You know, that's like being a kid and expecting, you know, everyone to entertain you. If your marriage is boring, you have to do something about it. You can't just look at your husband and blame him. You can't look at your life and blame it.
No,
You
that's
gotta
right.
fix
Got to make a
this
change.
crap yourself.
What about tantric sex?
Oh boy.
I'll leave you with that.
What about him? If I had to like hold a
I have to
position or do
read-
anything, I'd fall asleep.
I know. I think we have that book somewhere. I should read it. But- yeah, but you know, like you're connecting spiritually.
Right.
You're not
Didn't Sting do
connecting-
it for like a week or something crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did like
Right.
crazy tantric sex.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, don't even take my bra off around him. I'm like, no, don't get all excited, pal. It's not Christmas. It's not your birthday. Nothing's happening here. The sex ship has sailed.
Oh my god.
Maybe Easter.
Maybe Easter.
Oh yeah, Valentine's Day. I guess
Yeah.
we should probably put out
Yes,
on Valentine's
exactly.
Day.
Maybe you got to buy the tantric sex book for Valentine's Day.
I don't want to.
I
I
don't
want to buy
wanna.
the tantric sleep book. I just want to get through a night. I will come back to the whole sex thing. I just need to like get my sleep back
Yeah.
in order. Anyway, it's funny because you know Maddie, she's part of my birth control right now because just when you think you're going to sleep, the kid wakes up. Anyway, I have to give you my Maddie moment. We were driving somewhere the other weekend, and Greg went to turn right onto Queen or something, and he didn't look carefully enough, and sure enough, this car comes booting along, and he had to slam on the brakes. Maddie goes, "Dude, you can't do that."
She did?
To Greg.
I love
Like,
it.
where are you picking up? What are you,
Where's
the
she getting
fonts?
dude
Like,
from?
where did you get me? Him.
Oh, okay.
I guess so. I think
I
we're
like it.
I think we're to
Dude.
blame for dude. But just that she knew how to put that into proper context. Dude, you can't do like what? Care to explain? Do what? Turn right? Turn like how do you know the road rules?
Oh, that's fantastic.
So again, in the spirit of Valentine's Day.
Yes.
I was out with a friend the other night who was working really hard on her own relationship, and we were just talking about, you know, the common problems that couples have and then the unique problems that we have. And she told me about this podcast she had listened to, not ours, shockingly, but another one. Yeah,
There's more than one.
there's
ours?
another podcast out there. That's word on the street. So, and it's called drinksandsix.com if anyone's wondering. Anyway, it was about the 5 ways that people show love. And it was interesting because when we talked about it, I was like, wow, if you understand how your partner gives and accepts love and how you do, it really does kind of change the playing field. Like, my husband and I have been like bickering a lot lately, and you know, there's so much to do around the house. We've got a lot going on with Maddie's like recreational stuff, school and everything else, and then we have our own careers in our lives, and I just feel like we never have time to pause, and so we get really frustrated. And for me, it's like, you know, and on top of all of that, dinner is up to me, cleaning is up to me, getting the car and, you know, for spring or snow tires is up to me. Everything just seems to fall on me. And that's my big gripe. I get so angry about that. I get so resentful. Like, I work all day. Are you kidding? Why is this my job too? Or we'll be in the car and he'll say, I love this song. Write this down so we can throw it on our playlist. Like, what am I, your stenographer? Like, are you? Oh, let me
Is
just
he driving though?
Yeah, but it's not the point. Everything is like, I feel like I just run beside him with a notepad. What else can I do? Like, I'm sitting down. You got time to lean, you got time to clean. Maybe you could go take the car in. But anyway, so I checked out this article, and there's 5 ways that people show love, and I'm going to tell you what they are.
Okay.
And once you sort of listen to them, tell me what you think, if it kind of gives you any clarity on some of the battles you have at home.
Okay.
So one is words of affirmation. So that is when your partner, you know, you go, say, Wayne goes and takes the garbage out, and he walks in the door and you say, hey, Wayne, thanks for taking out the garbage. That was great. Like, it was just acknowledgement. It's like a positive acknowledgement that you saw that he helped you out, that he did something, right?
Yeah, I do that all the time because I'm perfect.
Okay,
So,
you
next.
are amazing. You got this one nailed. Clearly, you have the perfect relationship. I don't do that, and Greg doesn't do that. Like, we don't acknowledge when each other does anything, I think, because we expect that it should be done, which is true, but you can still acknowledge it. Just like it takes 2 seconds and it adds a positive layer. The second one is acts of service. So this is mine. This is when he helps me out. Like, I don't need to ask. He just says, you know what? I'm taking the car in today, get the snow tires off. You know, do you need the car for anything? Or, hey, I decided I'd go through our to-do list, which is slowly turning into our bucket list. And I knocked off 2 items this weekend. So now the lighting works under the kitchen cupboards, and there's a new fixture in the office. Like, just
Right.
takes it upon themselves and shows you that they're loved by helping out, by doing stuff, right? The third one is especially significant around Valentine's Day. It is receiving gifts. Some people sort of need to feel love this way, or give love where they give gifts all the time. And they could be just like, it could be big gifts, it could be flowers, it could be a homemade card, whatever. It is the act of giving something. The fourth one is quality time. So, you know, you're spending time together, but you're tuned out of your phone, the TV, you're just focusing on each other.
I'm the worst wife.
I am the worst wife. Me too.
Oh, this is scaring me. I do
know.
the first one.
See, you
and
failed.
Wayne does all the,
Yeah.
every single other one.
So he's the perfect husband. This one is more like, you know, like he walks into the room, you turn off the TV, you make eye contact, you leave the TV off until you're done your conversation, and then he leaves, or he joins you and you resume TV. Like, it's about making that time and showing each other that that time is important together. That one, I'm really bad at that one. I'm always on my phone, or I'm like constantly checking my email or my text or something.
Yeah.
And the last one is physical touch, and that's the obvious one, like cuddling, just like a hand on the shoulder, a hug every now and then. Anyway, so
This is very enlightening.
I think I am, well, I sent it to Greg. I'm like, you should read this, and then our marriage will be perfect if you read this.
Yeah.
And he wrote me back, and he said, it says that people accept love in one of these ways. He's like, I think you're number 1 to 5. I'm not a gift person, but I am definitely at number 2, acts of service, and 5, physical touch.
So those are things that you do?
I need.
Oh, you need.
That's how I need it. And he is like, I'm going to say he's a quality time person and words of affirmation. I don't think he can just be one of these things. But once you see that you guys both need things in different ways, doesn't that change things a little?
Because when you were reading it, I'm thinking, okay, I'm definitely number 1. Like, I give affirmations all the time. Thanks for doing that. That's so awesome you did that.
But is that how he needs to receive it?
I give it because that's what I need.
Yeah.
And then number 5 is me. I give that all the time. But he gives 2, 3, and 4, and I actually want 1 and 5 more.
So maybe you need to just say, I want 1 and 5 on the menu, and you can have...
But what if he says to me, I need 2, 3, and 4, and I'm like, oh, now I gotta go get you
That
gifts,
is a lot
and
of
I gotta,
work.
like,
You just say, no,
service
pal.
stuff?
Sorry. There's like 1. You get 1. And a bonus round on special occasions. Like, you can, like... He could be, like, maybe quality time. He could take 4, and then he could take 3 on reserve, like... Because that's receiving gifts, right? You could be like, yeah, you can totally have those on birthdays, Christmas, and Valentine's
good
Day.
One. He buys me little things constantly. I'm like, yeah, okay.
But you see, that's interesting. He's giving you what he thinks you want because that's how he wants it.
Yeah.
So if that's not
We're
working
giving
for
each
you,
other the wrong thing.
yeah. So if you just kind of like sit down and break it down,
Interesting.
Yeah. Cool, eh?
I love that. It sort of reminds me of they do tests on people where are you more of a audible person, like are you more, about listening, are you more about speaking, are you more about sensory, like how do you respond?
Mm-hmm.
For instance, like I'm more a visual person. If you draw something out for me, I get it. But don't explain to me how you're going to redo your living room. Like I'm basically sitting there going, la, 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 la. Like I have no idea what you mean when you said I'm going to put the couch over there and then I'm going to paint this wall this. And
this is are you an ESPNL or whatever?
Are you that's me listening to you. I don't get it. But if you go, Monica, I got to show you this. You draw a picture. This wall's going to be green. Chair's going to go over here. I'm like, oh yeah. Then I get it.
Yeah.
Right?
The way that we accept information.
Yes, the way we accept information.
Well, we accept emotions and love similarly.
Yeah,
right.
It totally reminds me.
Like there's like a pattern to it. There's a science to it.
Wow.
So interesting. So, I'll post the link to this, but if you're listening to this, go check it out and see how it is you're currently. Which one of these you fall under? Is that how you're giving love, and is that how your partner wants to accept it? Or is that just how you would like to accept it? So maybe it's time for a little chat. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so the word of the week, Jacqueline?
Oh, we're moving on to the word of the week. Is it love related?
It is.
Oh, of course.
Well, kind of.
All right, I'm ready for you.
The word is agastopia.
Whoa. Okay, I'm going to start making you do extra work. Is this a verb, a noun, an adjective?
It is a
agastopia?
Agastopia.
You don't know. You can't do that. I do know. How am I supposed to figure this out? Okay, I think I know what it is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
I was shopping in hang on. Wait,
let me say when you ask if it's a verb or a noun I don't want to answer that because I don't want to, but
you don't want to.
I'm gonna say it's a condition.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
As my hint.
I went into a small Italian bakery, and as I attempted to stuff a loaf of bread into my purse without paying for it, the owner said, I got a stopia right there.
Brilliant!
What the hell is it? Agastopia. Okay, honestly.
I went to a bar the other night, and I was wearing a short skirt, and I had to ask the guy across the bar to stop looking at my legs because his agastopia was freaking me out.
Like intense staring?
That's a really bad sentence.
A wandering eye?
It's admiration of a particular part of someone's body.
Well, in this case, the Italian owner was my arm stealing the bread.
Yeah. That's right.
So it's like fetishy.
Kind of fetishy, but then they also explain it like there's some people that have the fixation on their own body. So and they'll actually shield that part of their body, like, and try to protect it. And like, it can be like kind of a mental illness. No, I don't know if like a mental illness, but know, like maybe it would even, I don't know. I'm making assumptions now, which I think you're making crap up now. But yeah, okay. But like, let's say you had a bunion on your foot or something. Like maybe you're so obsessed with it, you're trying to cover it, you're trying to shield it, you're always thinking, you're always looking at it, you're always aware of it.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, okay, that I get.
Yeah, but they're saying a body part, so.
Yeah, that sounds a little shriny. Like I've got my calves on a shrine or something. I don't know, but it sounds more like someone like doing it to someone else. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't think I have agastopia.
No, but it can be both. It could be either something on your own body or something on somebody else's body.
Oh, okay. I would not do well in a Star Wars movie then, because I would have agastopia about like Jabba the Hutt and everything else.
Yeah. I'd have agastopia in any Marvel comic book with like Chris Hemsworth.
Oh yeah, that's,
his hair.
I don't think his whole body counts as a
agastopia.
Yeah, the whole. I think that is just celebrity stalker. Yeah, whatever that is. All right, I'm gonna move on to our.
So soon?
Yeah, not soon enough. Some might argue. I'm gonna move on to the final topic today.
Yes.
Okay, this one. Why do a lot of women, many of us, feel that we can't tell our friends the honest truth about what's going down in our relationships? And by that, okay, so let me tell you.
Yes.
I've done it. I dated a guy, and I know why I did it. I dated the biggest dickhead in the world.
You did it like you revealed all to a friend.
Yeah, well,
Or you
okay, so
didn't.
I dated like the world's biggest
Loserville.
jerk,
Yeah.
and I had the market cornered on losers back then, and he treated me really poorly. So if we had a fight and he was really awful to me, I wouldn't tell my friends because they already knew he was a dick, right? So I didn't want to add to, because I was staying with him because I was 16 and dumb, but I didn't want them to hate me because I didn't want the pressure to leave him, and then I didn't want
trying to protect him.
I was sort of, why? But like, let's go back to the 16-year-old brain.
Yep.
But that's like a severe case. But I have friends now, they're going through a hard time with their partner. And I have a friend who I had a great chat with the other night, and she's having a hard time with her partner. She's going through something really, really tough in her life, and it's not something typical. So it's really hard, I think, for anyone to know how to help her out of this. Mm-hmm. And her partner, her fiance, her like husband for best purposes, he hasn't been so supportive, and it's really upsetting her. And I feel like when she was telling me all this stuff, she was kind of later regretful because I'm not, it's not in her mind, but I understand this because I see it a lot and I've done it. You almost feel like you get it off your chest, you're really hurt, you're really upset by something, and later you're like, oh, but I'm not going to leave him, and I don't want my friends not to like him. Yeah. So you then kind of backpedal a little. Maybe I was a little too, critical of him, whatever. She wasn't doing that. She's a very honest person, but I said to her, you know what? I really appreciate your honesty and your candor, because I can't help you as a friend if I don't really know what's going on. And I'm not going to judge him, because what you're telling me is also just your version of the story. And I know him, and I'll judge him from what I see, not from what you tell me. So don't worry about coming to me and telling me stuff. If he's doing stuff that I don't like, then of course I'm not going to like him just like anybody else. But,
right.
But I have a lot of friends who, and I've done it too, like where, I've felt my husband's behavior on something was really poorly received, or he shouldn't have done something, and I'll kind of try to protect him. Mm-hmm. But why do we do that? Like, why do we feel like if our husbands are doing something that's upsetting us and we just openly tell our friends, we might sometimes just get a perspective we didn't expect that might make us go home and kind of go, yeah, you know what he did was wrong or felt hurtful or cold or whatever. Mm-hmm. But another way of looking at that might actually help you solve the problem.
Right, that's right. Yeah. And I think it's a big ego thing too, because you're with this guy, and it's hard especially when you're married to someone, to separate, like this person is still their own person. Like whatever they do is a reflection of them, and whatever I do is a reflection of me. What he does is not a reflection of me. A
lot of us still feel like it is, though.
Yeah, we feel like it is, which we shouldn't do that to ourselves. And so we have this like fear of being judged or whatever, but it's an ego thing too, because I think for most women we want to, I mean, I know with me, I want my friends to adore me. I want them to look at me and be inspired by me. I don't necessarily, and it's actually feels selfish as I say it, I don't necessarily want them to see anything in my life that I perceive to be a failure. Yeah. So, if my husband does something, I think, you know what, I'll just work this out with him, because I don't want to go there, and I don't want to be judged. I'm protecting myself, I'm protecting him. Yeah. And it's not to say that my friends aren't good friends, but I would feel weird if I spilled my guts about an argument I had, and then the next time I saw that friend, they were like, so, how's Wayne? Right? Yeah. Or, because girls can be like that. We're very protective of each other, and then we have, you know, with all good intentions, we have those friends that say, you know, I'm just worried about you. And we've talked about that before, Jacqueline. That feels so condescending. Like, why are you worried about me?
Yeah.
I know how to stand on my own 2 feet. It's okay to have a fight with my husband. I know how to handle myself. But,
yeah, like I came to you for 2 reasons. Advice or just to vent. I didn't ask you to be worried about me or fix my problem. I just need a good ear sometime.
Exactly. But it's difficult. And I think it's difficult on both sides. It's difficult for... I don't know.
I'm not saying that.
But I would say if you came to me, like, and we share stuff about our husbands, I never feel like, oh, Greg, I don't feel that way.
No.
But I have other friends that I wouldn't talk to about.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I feel the same. Like I have had in the past that happened to me where I've been upset and I've told a friend what happened. And it was nothing like, I actually ended a friendship over this because it was nothing, it was a fight and he stood his ground, I stood my ground. It was a big standoff when we didn't talk for like a few days. We weren't living together. And she just didn't want to like him anyway. I can't help that.
Yeah.
And she just wrote me this evil email about what an asshole he was and why would I stick around, and if I'm going to stick around a guy like this, then I deserve it. And I was just like, fuck you. Like, people get into fights, and if you're not smart enough to know that when I'm telling you about my fight, I'm going to make myself look damn victimized here because I want all the sympathy I can get in this moment because I am furious, and I want you on my side, and like shit all over him.
You say that, but then we actually don't want them on our side.
No, you don't. But you're so angry in the moment. Yeah, you just want someone to go, "You're right. You're justified for this feeling." When the best results I ever get are when someone is like, "Yeah, I totally get that you're angry, but if you like ever," and you're like, "No, don't take his side. I'm paying you here." But you know, like when someone kind of brings you down and back a notch and makes you kind of reevaluate what's happening, if someone is on my side, they're adding fuel to my fire, I'm not going to go back to him and work it out. Nope. You know, because I'm like, even worse than before. Now you're really bad.
And now we can create things that don't exist.
Yeah, really, like have a party and we do that.
Yeah.
But I think, you know what, I was asking you that question because when I was talking to her, I was thinking, wow, I don't have very many friends who would open up about this. And it was like nobody's fault. It was just, you know, sometimes as relationships grow and life throws crap at us, we don't know how to handle it ourselves, and our partners certainly don't. No. I don't think he's trying to not be supportive. I think he just doesn't know how, and I've been there. I've watched my husband lose his best friend, and I could empathize. It was horrible, but I didn't know how to support him through all those phases because I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, he's angry, he's this, he's that, you know? So anyway, I just... I admired her for being so honest, and I thought it should be like that. But the sad reality is, I think you're right, our friends take a protectionary stance, and it can come across as judgmental. Yeah. And then I do think that they hold on to that anger as their own towards your partner.
I do too. And, you know, I think the one great thing to keep in perspective, if you are a friend of someone that's going through something and you want to, like, say, yeah, what a jerk, that guy, whatever. We have to give people space, and we have to respect the fact that whatever works for another person is not necessarily what's going to work for you. Mm-hmm. And that argument that your best friend just had with her dickhead husband that you think is such a jerk because he hurt your friend, that may be the best thing that ever happened to her. Like, people come together because they are mirrors and they reflect things back and forth to each other. And that's why you know, for the most part, people get married. For the most part, we live monogamously, right? Most people do. So people come in and out of your life to show you things and to teach you things. And by going on a rant and what a jerk and how can he do that to you, and preventing that friend from actually working through that problem, you're robbing them of their next learning in life.
Yeah.
Like, people need to go through this.
But you're also kind of falling down as a friend.
Yes.
You're supposed to be there to support them, not help them tear their lives apart.
No,
right?
exactly.
I mean, it's different if someone came to me and said that he's beating her and cheating and whatever.
Yeah, that's completely different.
That's different.
But it'd be interesting to see. I mean, Stats Canada would never get that specific, but the divorce rates we were looking at today, like, I wonder what really happens. I wonder what the final trigger is for people. Like, is it a bunch of friends telling you to leave, or is it
it's girlfriends?
Like, what is it?
I think it's that everything we want in this day and age comes to us quickly and easy. And if relationships are work, we don't feel like we have to do that. I hear a lot of people say, "I shouldn't have to work this hard."
And that
you
feeling of entitlement.
Yeah, but you know what? You're not a millennial. Yes, you should work that hard. Anything worth having is worth working at. Did you start a business with no hiccups? Like, have you never had a problem in your job? Are you kidding? Are you at like the crux of your career because you didn't work hard? Like, why is marriage different? You know, I think people think because it's love and it's emotion, it should just be free and flowing and hippie. But no, it's a bloody lot of work. That didn't even make sense. A bloody lot of work. I don't even know.
It's a bloody lot of work.
It
sounds
the
like
wine talking. I'm going to end with our girls, geeks, and gadgets, but I'm gonna toss this one over to you because
over to me.
I will help you out a little
Physically toss it? No, I hope not.
This one in honor of Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
This is called the Kegel. And do you know what the Kegel is? This should be Kegel. Now say that fast. What does it sound like? Say it fast. What does that sound like? Kgoal. But say it. What does it sound like?
Kegel.
Just, okay, put it in a sentence. I just did my insert that word exercises.
Kegel.
Ah.
Got it, Jacqueline. Took me a while.
You are the sharpest knife in the drawer.
I have to just say one thing. Because I want to do a woe is me moment right now. I just finished a 5-day trade show, and I got very little sleep last night, so I sound a little dopey today.
You don't sound dopey, and you look amazing.
Oh, God, thanks.
Yeah, I can't believe you finished last night. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, but
here you are,
I'm
wine
so
in
happy
hand.
to be here.
Well, this is going to make you happier.
Kegel.
The Kegel.
Uh-huh.
It's an app and device designed to track your pelvic floor exercises while providing vibrational feedback. Now, that is techie speak for an orgasm, I think. And it says it addresses sexual health and wellness in a much more fundamental way than just providing momentary pleasure, because God forbid we don't want momentary pleasure.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's interesting because it is like a two-in-oneer. It's strengthening the pelvic floor because that actually gives you more sexual pleasure, but it's also providing the pleasure. So I thought that was a very appropriate app and gadget for Valentine's Day.
I love that. It kind of reminds me of this new product, which I didn't notice at the Toronto Gift Fair in the last 5 days, but maybe I should have looked harder. Have you heard about vaginal weightlifting?
No. No, I can honestly say that I haven't.
There's a YouTube vid that we should post.
Oh, jeez.
So there's this thing. It's like an egg, and you insert it like a tampon, and it has a long string hanging off of it, attached to a little bag, and in that bag, you put weights into it, and you
What?
Yeah. So you could do
just
it at
like
work.
what? Wear
You'd wear a skirt.
Oh yeah, I would wear that at work. What the hell? What's that knocking between your
it's
knees?
like all
it's
over
a
the place.
5-pound barbell hanging from my vagina. Like, really? Like, what kind of stuff
do
are
we
you?
need that? What
Do
what
we
evidence
care?
is there to prove that women actually need this?
I don't. There must be evidence, but like, is it what evidence is? Why would anyone who sat around and thought of this? I'd like to know. It's a guy.
Yeah. No, but this video, like the girls put it. Anyway, just watch it.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna watch
Hot
it.
item at the Toronto Gift Fair.
Woo! Okay, so that's a wrap for today. Leaving that on your vaginal wall or floor. So why don't you stay tuned for next week's podcast? Next week, we've got a pretty good one. The next couple of weeks, we've got some good topics coming up. But next week, we're going to talk about, is it okay to keep your life separate from your spouse's life? Right? Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about wise advice for your 40-year-old self, and what advice would your 40-year-old self give your 30-year-old self? And I think the last one we're going to talk about next week is, what shit are you getting too old for? So join us next week for Drinks at 6.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Dream Chat 6.